French Revolution, Part 5. This one's gonna be good because the cracks in the dam are starting to show. Alright, I've been hopping around a bit between Louis XIV, 15, and 16. We're gonna plant ourselves now in Louis XVI's reign. The year is 1775, 1776. Louis gets asked to support this group of treasonous rebels who are trying to throw the British crown off of their back in the American colonies. Now, Louis's intuition on this is that he shouldn't get mixed up in it. But Louis lets people talk him out of following his intuition, and this is no exception. And he gets convinced that this is a great way to stick it to their mortal enemy, the British. But initially, Louis does this in secret under the table. But after the Battle of Saratoga in 1777, he says, okay, these folks are legit. We're going to go all in and make it known that we're supporting them. In hindsight, not a great idea on his part. So because they're pumping money into the American Revolution, which is now by 1777 public knowledge, and because they were already in a ridiculous state of spending, they certainly could not afford to support the Americans in a revolution. They had no business getting out their checkbook for this. But as a result of gross overspending and now supporting this revolution, the king's coffers are getting empty real fast. Add on to that his wife, who Marie Antoinette became known by some as Madame Deficit, because her spending is crazy. She actually has Louis build her a little village at Versailles. It's called La Petite Trianon. And she uses this little village to go play peasant. Princess. Louis' finance minister says, yo, we'll go. And Louis said, oh no, whatever shall we do? And his finance minister said, well, first of all, we don't want anybody to know that we're broke. Because if people find out that we're broke, they'll stop loaning us money. And if we can't have the facilitation of loans, the economy of France will collapse. So we need to make sure we don't alarm anybody. So finance minister guy comes up with a plan that he's going to release a version of the king's books. And they keep two versions. They keep one version which reflects their debt and one version which does not. And he releases the version which does not, which makes it look as though France is economically strong, which the king wants to send this impression both to his own country, but also to all of the other international powers they're competing with. In addition to that, his finance minister recommends that he continue spending money as though everything is normal, because we need to keep things looking normal. On top of all of that, the finance minister tells him, look, you're also going to need to levy some more taxes because we have to get our tax revenue up. And the king isn't crazy about this idea, but times are desperate. So the tax minister, or the finance minister, puts this proposal together that would increase import taxes and property taxes, which import tax would be obviously passed along to consumers, so this is going to have an effect on them, not that anybody necessarily really cares. And the property tax is going to have an effect on the nobility, because in this tax code is a stipulation that even if you are exempt from other taxes, you have to pay this one. King doesn't necessarily want to do that, but the situation is dire. And so he sends down to Parlement the request for this tax increase. So the Parlement gets this request for a new tax, And they're like, wait a second. You're operating as though everything is just normal. We just saw your books. Why are you trying to levy any tax? No. No. We're gonna vote no. So that's a cliffhanger, sort of. Not really. I've already recorded the rest of this video, but it was too long, so I've split it into a couple of parts. So, the end of part 5. Proceed to part 6.